What's up, everybody? It is Matt from Electric All Wheel. We are back, and today we have the Heybike Ranger S. This is the 750 watt version, not the 1000 watt rear hub. But keep in mind, everything that we're about to do and talk about can happen with the 1000 watt Ranger S in the same manner. Perhaps a conflict with size of the controller, but I do not believe the dimensions are different, and it will be housed in the same position that you will see in this electric all-wheel dual battery video. We are going to use the 40 amp kit and then show you that you can hook up the Datex DX2 and the USB accessory, so you can have a couple extra USB plugs for all of your gadgets on your e-bike that's integrated into the system and uses the bike's power. This Heybike has a 48 volt, 14.4 amp hour battery, and we are going to add a second battery, more than doubling the range with an electric all-wheel dual battery discharge balance kit. Stick around to the end of the video and we're going to do some range calculations as well. I must advise, as always, if you're going to do this and you're going to ride those miles, get a suspension seat post. It will help you immensely. We did it for a purpose. We'll leave a link for that in the description below. I do like the Ranger S. I have not tested the app since the last time I had the Mars 2.0, which I was very disappointed with the way that played out. So I will check this out, but that will not be a focal point for this video. We are going to do the dual battery install. I've already had a look at this, and it seems as if we might need to do an external install, and we have the bike case cell phone bag for that. We'll likely do the install here, and then we are going to place a down tube battery on the Heybike Ranger S right over the other, and we'll use the bike case bottle cage strap adapters for that. We have fallen in love with that, and it's perfect application for the step through. And we do anticipate that with the posture of the bike, the step through is going to be just fine. So that's a good deal as well. Good job for Heybike doing that. One thing I like about this bike is when you open it up and you're inside, since they did not make the battery connect to the second half of the frame with the pins like the electric, where the battery is here and the pins for the power are here, they did not do that. They wired it all the way through, and it is a mounting plate inside the front half of the bike. When you have it in half, you can actually test everything for factory connection, which is a benefit for those of you that don't need dual battery. It allows you to test to see that the bike is functioning. But keep in mind, if you turn it on and it's in half, it's going to do things. So if you have it in half in your car, perhaps somebody did that, and a bump happens and it hits the throttle, be wary of what it could do. So it might be worthwhile to take out your battery. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It is our primary, and if you're in the area, check out E-Bikes of Tampa Bay, Florida. Get in that Facebook group, make an event, and go for a ride with your friends. Again, we're going to have some stats at the end of this. Why do I like this bike? Hydraulic brakes, 20-incher. I put it in the car. It's app enabled. I haven't been down that road, but I'll let you know. The seat post, the suspension seat post is aftermarket, but the mag wheels I like because no spoke issues. And what else was I seeing on that thing? Oh, the option to actually have 1000 watt with the same frame structure. I really like that too. You can elevate the handlebars, folding aspects, the pedals, and the color. The color's right. I just want to make sure that it functions appropriately. I wish that the standard factory would let you roll all the way through throttle instead of locking it into the PAS numbers 1 through 5. But I will check that out. Again, not a primary focus for this, but I just wanted to talk about it. Here we go. I always forget to undo the motor cable. This is important because you need slack inside the housing. So the metal ring goes to the back, so you want to unscrew it. So this is the female side, the ring is on the female side. So there's a couple more zip ties up in this area. What I'm hoping is that I can just release one and leave the other because it's got a bundle for the whole wire pack. So I'll just kind of push that slack through it so that I know I've got slack on the controller. 2 screws to get into the controller. All right, it's packed in here. So immediately leaning towards an external install that was known beforehand. So you just kind of want to get your wires loose. And what you're looking for is to create the space to get this controller out by the side. To some degree, you're going to have to grip it in that manner, but you always want to put most of your leverage on the controller box itself. Be careful with that. There it is. Okay, we're going to bring in 2 cables up through the bottom. We'll get this thing seated back in there. Holy moly. Looks like the cavity runs up into the body, so it's even better. So we'll deal with it in that way. We're going to use the bullet adapters on the cables. We're going to tape them because we see what the wiring structure is inside here. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to take the battery out so there's no live connection. I'm doing that because of the bullet ends. We're going to take our 40 amp kit. You can see the bullet connectors here. Here are our cables. So we're going to put a male and the female end up through there, connect them to the bullets, and then connect them to these wiring, and then it will be external to the bike. So these are matched to fit. So black male will go to black female, which is controller side. And make sure that the sheathing is not in the way so you can get full coverage on your contact. And then we're just going to tape these individually. Hold the bullet connectors, don't bend them, they'll break here at the wire connection. So hold the actual bullet connector end of the bullet connector adapter. This is exciting. I may roll to the end of this electrical tape. That doesn't happen very often. They always get lost or something goes down. You leave them at the job, whatever. All right, this isn't for weatherproofing. It's just to make sure the connection stays put. There's going to be a lot of back and forth inside this thing. There it is. Holy moly, the end of the roll. All right, there are our ends. Now let's get the cables in there. Remember, 1 male, 1 female XT60N for both of these. So we just plug in what works once we get our ends in here for the two cables. All I'm doing right now is, since it seems that the mast needs to be on the left-hand side of the housing, I'm just getting the wiring out of the hole, just kind of a little more oriented, so I know what's going to happen when I put the controller back in. And also remember, you have to take up some of this slack, and then some of it can be removed out the bottom. Just remember what your limits are. And started looking at the bike more closely, and what you'll see is that there is more of a gap opening on the right hand side of this housing, and then it's more narrow here on the left. This is frustrating because that means that the factory install was incorrect, and I have my druthers with Heybike, and I wish that they wouldn't do things like this. So what does that mean? The bulk wiring is going to go on this side, and the controller will wind up in the same manner on this side of the wiring. We'll use it like this. We'll slip it in on this side. Keep in mind that it will hook some of these in the back, so you just have to make sure that it comes free of that, and then it will go up into the body and leave quite a bit more room here on the right. So you'll feel it free up, and then it'll just slip past all the cabling. And there you can see how much deeper that is, how much nicer it fits into the housing. Like, adventurous me would almost venture to guess that I could get a 40 amp into the back deep corner, but I'm not doing that. So here I'm feeding slack for the cables I just installed so they don't come loose or break. And since my cables are loose, and I'm not even going to close that up before I test it because of all of this mess, let's go ahead and see if we can get power. I can see it on the controller already. Error 24, so that's the motor. I just need to connect the motor, but there is power. So we're going to go ahead and close it up. Keep in mind, you need to make sure you have the slack out of it before you close up the controller compartment. So with this, I'll line up the arrows. There's one there. There's the other. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get my cabling back in, so get that set. On the back side, remember the slack goes up towards the motor, or up towards the body of the bike, not towards the motor. Okay, now we have our two cable ends here. We're going to come through this bottom step. I probably shouldn't have wrapped those up, but I know that I'm going to be able to use the cell phone bag that I'm going to place in here. So for this, it's the bike case Elasto Beetle bag, interesting name. Dual zippers, which is the best part. So you can control from either side. You can have the opening down towards the bottom here, which I like. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all this packaging. These straps work perfectly. So I'll just go ahead and have it sit upright, so the closing at the bottom. And then come in on this side. And then it'll sit here. Okay, now here comes the fun part. We do have an extra set of XT60 cables just in case, but we're going to see what the fit is with the cable going all the way to the back. And for that, we have our Hylong down to 48 volt, 15 amp hour battery with the bike case bottle cage straps, two of them mounted to the battery mounting plate. This is what it's looking like, and this is your concentration point. And what I want to call your attention to is you can see how the battery can slide right over that plate right there. And that is because we changed the screws out for the bike case adapter. We left the one on the end here. That screw head in there is from the original packaging of this strap adapter. But for this, we needed to replace them with 5M screws. So we will leave an example link in the description below, but it might be better off at your Ace, Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. These are the original screws, and that head is just a little too big to make it happen the way we are going to do it. So you have to replace this one and this one for the front, and then you'll use one of these on the back mount for the second strap. There's that. Here's our cable, and it looks like we're just not going to make it. We're not going to chance that, so we're going to use one of these extension cables to get us there. So I decided I would leave up, and then come in from the side on the bag. Just going to leave that one loose on the top. There we go. Now I know both zippers are on this side, and then I'll just place in accordingly. And now I'm going to get my 40 amp balancer. So you'll see there's a in, and out on the face of this. So ins on this side, and those are your two female XT60 connections. So just go ahead and plug that in. The other male will go into one of the female ports as the second battery, so you can't really mess it up. Take the last one and plug that in. Now I'm just going to go ahead and slip it inside here. Send in the excess cable as well. And then zip this back down. There we go. I think I will just go ahead and zip tie right here too. One of my favorite things to do for an installation like this is to use these Tidy Helper cable clips. Are perfect for this setup. I'll take these and make sure the slip opening is like this, and then I'll just install one or two right here. So maybe here and here, so that it holds the battery cable. So this will be the position or posture for the battery. The harness where the exit is out of the frame restricts that, so you want this strap to be flat against the bike. So this is it, the XT60 right in the middle of the body. So just like that. That part is a pain. There we go. And that should give us enough fold slack here. Gives it a nice clean look. We know everything's stowed inside. And then I'm going to zip tie right here. What I plan to do is just tilt the motor and let you see, and I'll just unplug one at a time. So this is both batteries. That works. And then I'm looking at my in, so I know that that's a battery. I'm going to unplug. I know that's correct. Male in coming into the balancer, female connector. Power is still on. Still working. Perfect. Now I'm going to plug this one in and unplug the other in, which is this one. Power is still on. There we go. So we know everything is functioning. Now, let me show you something else. I'm just going to go ahead and unhook everything. So we brought out our USB adapter with XT60 connectors. And we wanted to show an install with the dual battery setup. Now for that, you will need the Dadex dual input, dual output. This can be used for dual motor. This is classed a bit differently in the way it's labeled. It's 30 amps continuous, 45 amp max, so this thing can get it going, and it's considerably smaller. The efficiency of this is so great that the casing for it could be 3D printed. This is very, very popular in the rad power bike groups for the 35 amp upgrades that they use, and we have found that it is an extremely good match with the USB adapter. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to plug that in. So you have your three connectors that already existed. You can't mess this up. It's in, and then out, out. So you just plug in what works. And then that last plug is going to be for the out connection here on the Dadex. So we'll go ahead and plug that in. And for those of you that understand, don't worry about this, but it does have a purpose. And then there you go. We have two USB connections that are connected in line with the bike itself. To demonstrate that it works, we brought out these music activated LED strip lights with the remote control, and they're USB ported. So we're just going to go ahead and plug it in. So you can see that they work. Maybe. There we go. Turn them off. Maybe hit the off button, not on. And then we brought out an Apple cord. Go ahead and plug that in. And we have an iPad here that we're going to plug in, and we're going to look for it to activate for charging. And there it is. Perfect. And then we can see it's actually charging by the indicator up here in the top right. And then this is my favorite part. I'm going to turn these lights on. Press play. So you have a powered iPad from this USB, and then you have these LED lights with a remote control. You could actually string these onto your bike and go on those famous glow rides. Thank you, Julie and Jan, for putting that out there for us. This is a good adaptation that you can make for this bike. So we really like this combination setup with the USB adapter. We're just gonna slide this inside here for use, and that comes with the ability to use it. Instead of the 40 amp balancer kit, you will get the DX2 30 amp continuous combiner, dual input, dual output. Well, there you have it. And yes, I did change my shirt. It is a hot, humid day here in Florida. We have successfully added, in a very clean manner, I might add, a second 48-volt battery with the electric all-wheel dual battery discharge balance kit. We used a 40 amp kit, and then we demoed the DX2 dual input, dual output with the 2 USB adapter so you can have power in line with your bike, which is pretty awesome. I really like these bike case bottle cage strap adapters. It allows you to take this battery off pretty quick. And then those tidy helper cable clips really bring it in and make it look, give it that factory feel. I know a lot of you are here for the range calculations, so let's get to that. The original battery is a 48 14.4 amp hour battery. So 14.4 amp hours plus 15 of the second aftermarket high-long 48 volt battery gives you 29.4. We're going to multiply that by 48 and you get 1,411.2 watt hours. We're going to divide that by 25. Now 25 is the Mica toll constant, which says it's 25 watt hours per mile ridden at 20 miles an hour, throttle only. And you get 56.448 miles out of this, 20 miles an hour, throttle only. That does not consider PAS. Keep in mind that will change with size, weight, terrain, and physical conditions. Is it windy, etc., etc. Also, heat and cold do matter, as you all do well know. And again, I can't stress enough, if you're going to do this and ride that style of ride and go that distance, get yourself a suspension seat post. You will thank me later, I know it. Keep in mind that you are not isolated to this 48 volt battery. You can get any 48 volt amp hour battery you want. Just make sure you have an XT60 connection. We do not have an adapter for a second factory Heybike battery, so keep that in mind if you're observing and thinking you want to go down this route. It's just easier to get a connection with XT60 of an aftermarket battery. Our site does have a list of recommended batteries, and we will put this battery and a couple more in the description below. Don't forget you have a rear rack as well. There's also pannier bags, and then there is also a smaller 48 volt 10 amp hour battery that's really popular with electric all-wheel. So keep that in mind. You are not isolated to that. There's a lot of dead space, and I know you guys are really creative, so you'll come up with something. We've progressed and we like it. This cell phone bag from Bike Case has worked out well. The bottle cage strap adapters have worked out well, and it keeps us the ability to add that second battery over the primary battery is something that is key. There's no drilling into the frame, and we're not obstructed in that way. So it allows us to utilize this space. And look, my big foot fits right through here. That's a size 15 if anybody's wondering. So this is a good setup. It won't always be this way, but the posture on these Heybike step-through bikes gives you this room, and then you can slide the seat forward and back. So some of you that are a little on the shorter side will want to slide it forward, so you lose a little bit right about here where your knee comes into the step-through portion. But other than that, there's plenty of room there with that second battery on the down tube. If you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It is our primary, and if you're in the area, check out E-Bikes of Tampa Bay, Florida. Listen, I know a lot of you guys have joined that group, and we're respectful of that you're out of state, but We really want those members that are in the group to make those rides and take that ride with your e-bike friends. We will talk to you next time.